Fox News put up a deceiving graph over the weekend about the unemployment rate after the first 100 days. Take a look. Wow. Amazing. This graph is amazing. All right. Okay. Where to begin? There's a lot to cover in this because this is the definition. This is the literal definition of fake news. So if you go and take it for what it's worth, if Fox News wanted to put up a graph of 100 days after the inauguration, this is where the unemployment rate is. You're already deceiving and lying to people. Okay? Some people are trying to defend it as what it is. Oh, look at that, 100 days in. 100 days in. Look at the unemployment rate. Obama, 9%. Oh my God. And it did get worse. It got up to 10% at one point. Bill Clinton, 7.1%. But look at the Republican presidents. 4.5. 4.4%. Trump, 4.5. 4.4% for Bush, 43. It's deceiving you into trying to think that 100 days after the inauguration, the employment rate is better than Republican unemployment rates is better than Democratic unemployment rates after 100 days. But that's already incorrect, you fuckheads. This on its own, without changing the actual numbers to what they're supposed to be in an actual graph. Okay, first things first, no recent president since the 80s has been able to implement economic and legislative bills and laws that deal with the economy and jobs 3 months after the inauguration. No president ever has been able to do that because the budget for the next year hasn't been confirmed yet. We literally just went over this recently with Trump's budget. The fiscal year for 2018 hasn't gone through Congress. In fact, the government almost shut down because of what Trump wanted to fund and what he didn't want to fund. So they extended it by a week. We have until next Friday or next Saturday until they have to vote on a budget. So it's not like we're still right now running under Obama's economic plan. Because for fiscal year 2017, Obama confirmed it in 2016. So that's where. So no, Trump hasn't passed major pieces of legislation that will drastically change how the economy functions until 2018. Basic fact. So with that in perspective, not only does this hurt Republicans, but it helps Democrats. A logical person looks at this. By the way, I have my computer over here with the numbers so I don't get them wrong. So when I point over here, I'm literally pointing at my computer. So a logical person looks at this and goes, oh, so a Democrat gets into office with a high unemployment rate. Let's take Fox News' example of this. Bill Clinton gets in after George H.W. Bush has a 7.1% approval rating. Wow, an approval rating of 7.1? That's like Congress. Bill Clinton gets in with an unemployment rate of 7.1, right? He hasn't been able to pass major legislation that will change the way the U.S. economy functions and how it will add or subtract jobs, okay? To talk about this, we as human beings, as people who want to talk about politics, need to accept that as a ground level fact. No president can get through Congress, first of all, a budget until halfway through the year, and the year that they're elected is still covered by the previous president. So that needs to be understood as a fact. And the other fact is presidents can't get major economic positions and economic legislation done until later. Okay, those are just the solid facts. So looking at this now, a logical person goes, so a Democrat gets in after a Republican has high unemployment rates, and then a Republican gets in, George W. Bush in this case, and has low unemployment rates. Okay, so we have a Republican get in, or a Republican leaving with a Democrat getting in with high unemployment, a Republican now getting in with low unemployment, and then we have another Democrat getting in with a huge unemployment rate. Again, not Bill Clinton. It isn't his fault for having a 7.1 unemployment rate because he hasn't been able to control the economy the way he wants to yet, because no president has been able to get through massive economic bills through Congress. We don't even have a budget, the first budget for these presidents through. So isn't it strange that how every Republican gets low unemployment, but then a Democrat gets in and it's somehow high unemployment? Isn't that weird? So this hurts Republicans and helps Democrats, and it's coming from Fox News, the definition of propaganda and fake news. It amazes me that this was it doesn't amaze me. Fox News is filled with a bunch of schmucks and hacks. So, yeah, of course it went through and was able to get through Fox News' Twitter. But it amazes me that people fall for this. How can you fall for this? And how can you look at this and go, oh, Republicans really do good with the economy? By the way, now let's get into what that graph should actually fucking say. Not 100 days into a term of an unemployment rate, the unemployment rate in which the president left us with. You take the 4.5 for Obama's numbers. You move that's Obama's number. That's not Trump's number. Again, another time where Trump will take credit for something he didn't actually fucking do. That is Obama's number that he left us. Bush left us with a 9% unemployment rating. By the way, lowest unemployment rate as a leaving president ever was George W. Bush. And Bill Clinton left us with a 4.4 unemployment rate, which, by the way, is, under economic terms, full unemployment. Because as a society and as business, as a capitalist, you can't hire everyone or else you'll lose profit, and the amount of work getting done, if you have too many workers, will actually go down. So that's about as full unemployment as you can get, which then leads into why you need a social safety net and food stamps, and because people can't always get a job because they will literally crash the economy. If the unemployment rate was 0, it would hurt the economy more if the unemployment rate was about 3.5 to 4.5%. Basic economics. You hire too many people, productivity goes down, and the company is now having to pay more people minimum wage, which means that they're losing profits. So it literally can't work to have a 0 unemployment rate. So a perfect economy, when you have a mixed system of economies of free market and government run, is about 4%, 3.5%, 4.5%, maybe 5%, but that's kind of pushing it. So somehow Republican presidents leave Democratic presidents a higher unemployment rate than Democratic presidents leaving an unemployment rate to Republican presidents, which gets to my big point. Republicans can't handle the economy. What's their answer for every fucking problem that comes through their desk? Executive order. Looks like we have a major drought in Kansas, and they're not able to grow fruit. All right, we're going to deregulate and cut taxes for the rich. Every problem, that's the Republican solution. Deregulate, cut taxes for the rich, and let the free market take over. And what does it lead to? High unemployment rate, exploding the deficit, which is the annual amount of money going to the debt. Reagan exploded the deficit. George W. Bush exploded the deficit. He put 2 wars on a fucking credit card. Of course he exploded the deficit. So Obama cut down the deficit. Bush left us, which was about 1.2 to 1.4 trillion, and lowered it to about 660 billion. We got to wait for Trump 4 years from now to see exactly where he's going to be with the deficit. If it continues, we have numbers on this. We can compare. We can see it. It won't be fake news or alternative facts, as Kellyanne Conway, the asshole, fucking. We have to wait for the numbers to see what they are for the deficit. We have to see for the numbers of what the unemployment rate is for Trump 4 years after that. Now I want to put up this graph. Obama created something like 11.2 million jobs. He had like 24 30 months of private sector job growth, which, by the way, also goes against what Republicans stand for. They're deficit hawks. They want to watch the deficit. They don't want the deficit to explode, which happens under modern Republican presidencies. Look it up. It's true. But also, the idea and the ideology of the Republican Party is we need to watch the deficit, which doesn't happen under Republican presidents. The deficit continues to explode. So this was a insanely misleading graph, and I can't believe that people fall for this like it actually happens. Okay, but I lost my train of thought. I didn't know if you noticed that. The little section in between the deficit. I wanted to move from the deficit. So I was talking about Obama's months of private sector job growth. Keep private sector in mind. It's important. What's the ideology of the Republican Party? We want less government, no federal government in the way. What is private sector jobs? The free market. So if Fox News ever says anything about Obama creating jobs in the private sector and they try to argue against it, he literally did what Republicans try to do. They don't want government mandated jobs. Trump put a federal hiring freeze on. The federal government can't hire more people because they want smaller government. Obama was able to increase private sector jobs, meaning not the government. Fox News should be applauding and wanting to put him on money because of that. But they're not going to, because either it's not good enough or it's or he's a Democrat. So again, we have numbers on this. This is proven. It's a misleading graph, 100 through and through, 100%. And it amazes me that people believe this and give Trump credit. Trump wasn't able to get through major economic reform and policy through Congress because he hasn't even gotten his budget for the next year in. Most of his major economic stuff, and we just got to his tax policy, for fuck's sake. All of his policies for the economy aren't going to come until late summer, early fall of this year. So this is a nonsense piece of shit graph that no one should take seriously because it's misleading as fuck and it makes no freaking sense.